Thank God for Disney Plus, because without Disney Plus, you would get no Star Wars content at all. Since the rise of Skywalker, we have had several movies, trilogies even, being announced, and all plans were blown up before Rebels had a chance to steal them. At least the shows get made. Are they all good? Hell no. But some content is better than no content, right? This is the review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions the car has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have the original, Mr. Taylor first. How are you this fine evening?
I'm excellent, thank you.
That's good to hear. And we have Merv. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Lord Deathman couldn't join us this week, so let's continue. We're going to talk about episode 3 of Skeleton Crew, called Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. Long title. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our forum at sakar.freeforums.net. Click on the link in the description. That will take you to the setup an account page, and then you can join the conversation on Sakar. Do that. We would love to have you join our community. This is your final warning. We're going to discuss the content of this show in depth. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, do that first and then come back to the video. Well, the Jedi we met last week helps the kids escape out of prison. And we go from there. Well, Taylor, quick reaction, quick thoughts on this week's episode of Skeleton Crew.
I liked the episode. I thought it was good. I think it advanced the story just what it needed to. It wasn't too long and wasn't too short. I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Okay. Yeah, Merv?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I wish there was more. I don't know how to describe it, but I wish there was more going on or a more centered focus going on. But it's fun. It's like whimsical. It's it's fine. Maybe the single episode as opposed to 2 episodes really like put me in check as far as like my expectations for the show.
I actually really liked this week's episode. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, and basically, Star Wars needs to be fun, first and foremost. It needs to be fun to watch. And this was absolutely fun to watch. There was crazy creatures, action, some drama. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And some fan service. And may I say, one of the most gorgeous shots in the whole franchise. Got me singing the police, is it? Walking on the Moon? But anyway, Murph, any negatives you want to discuss this week?
I guess the only negative, and it's not a full blown negative, but this episode really focused on Jude Law's character and kind of felt like it pushed the kids a little bit into the background. And I just don't know if there's enough episodes to do that for me. You know what I mean? I really felt like this was Jude Law's episode where. I mean, we get to know him, so it makes sense that they would do this. But as far as pacing goes, I really felt like it struggled a little bit, with the exception of, and I apologize again because I'm terrible with names, but the girl with the visor, I thought she had a little bit more shine in this episode, but I feel like a lot of the other ones just kind of became background characters for this one. Mm-hmm. So if there's any negative, it's that. I don't want anyone. The 4 kids, and I guess Jude Law included in this. I don't want anyone to feel like they're being pushed to the background. So I did feel that in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mean KB? That's the name
yes.
of the kid advisor. Yeah, you can also call her Geordi LaForge, as Taylor mentioned last week. Not stealing your joke, Taylor. I think we should make it a thing. But no, any particular highlights in this week's episode?
I thought the action was all fun. I really, despite what I just said, I really liked the juxtaposition, I guess, between I think Fern is the captain, essentially the captain of the ship, and Wim. Whenever they're getting into the gunner pods, Fern seems reluctant or like worried about it, and Wim could not wait to get up there, and he's like blasting as he was circling the thing, and it's funny because like we know that he's shooting at X-wings who are essentially the good guys, so I don't think they quite realize that they're on the bad side of this yet, even though the owl woman flat out told him that you do not want to trust Captain Crimson Jack, as he's called. So that was all fun, and then the escape from the pirate camp or whatever you want to call it. That was all pretty fun. I love it's something that Marvel and even Star Wars does now, but the background where the stuff is happening in the background, and there's like this mundane conversation in the foreground, but in the background, if you're paying attention, there's all this stuff happening, and I just really like that. I always find it comical whenever that happens. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Taylor, you any particular negatives or highlights in this week's episode?
No real negatives to speak of. I mean, it wasn't like a blow me away episode. It was like I said, it advanced the story, I think, how it needed to. I also liked the escape from the pirate planet or whatever it was. The action there when they were in the ship and he was coming back and they were shooting at him, very Star Warsy action there, and then that they were still connected to the gas line or something, and they had to figure that out. Again, a very, very whimsical, adventurous type action.
Was that a pun?
I like that. I like
whimsical.
Yeah, I guess so. And then when they got to the moon, I liked the owl cat alien lady with the maps. And she gave us a little information about these lost planets that I guess Adin was one of them. So they're still building on that mystery. I also liked at the very beginning where they did show us what was going on back home, and the parents are freaking out, as parents would when their kids disappear into space. So they gave us just a little bit of that to let us, remind us, there is stuff still going on back there. And it does kind of show us how the whoever's in charge of that planet is, sketchy, whoever they are, because they're just giving them the runaround at this point.
I have the feeling it's going to be like an AI kind of thing, or like a droid or something that has decided you cannot leave or something. I don't know. I really get that feeling.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. Well, I'll be interested to see what happens. But again, all of that other stuff was good. I liked how the X-wings were chasing them and not actually shooting them because they knew there were kids on that ship. So they were just trying to like pull them over like cops without doing any damage, and that's how they got away. I like Jude Law's character. We don't really know what he's up to. I mean, they're not being that sneaky about it. He's obviously a pirate. Pretty sure he was the captain that got mutinied and thrown in the brig by the wolf guy. But what his angle is now, we're not 100% sure, and whether or not he has force powers or not is not 100% sure. It seems like he has some type. He's either like a really good con man who set this stuff up ahead of time, or he does have some force sensitivity and some force power. So maybe there's a history there where he spent some time in the Jedi Temple and left or something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just the character right now is just fun. And I'm not, it doesn't really bother me that he spent a lot of time on him, because he really wasn't even in the first 2 episodes at all, other than, 5 minutes at the end of the second episode. So I think that was good that they gave us a little bit more of his personality there. All the kids are still doing fine. Again, they had a little bit less to do in this episode, but what they did, they all did good. So again, it's a standard episode of so far a good show.
Yeah, I like actually the fact that they need his help, don't really trust him. They're infighting about should we trust him, what should we want his help. I actually like it. It's like what kids would do if there's a strange adult, right?
Yeah, and I like that they're smart. these kids, they're not just blindly following. They're saying,
Mhm.
well, why didn't he escape before we got there? And then, of course, his answer was, well, I didn't have a ship to go to, so why escape? But they were asking those questions, and they were pointing out,
Mhm.
well, there are ways to make it look like something's floating when it when it's not really. So I do like that. And KB just straight up said, I don't trust you, dude. So I like that the kids are smart and they're not just blindly doing everything some adult tells them to do at this point. Some
Mhm.
stranger tells them to do.
Yeah, yeah. So, Murph.
Oh, I just wanted to. I had one thing I wanted to point out as far as like something I really enjoyed that made me laugh out loud. Whenever Crimson Jack is going to find SM-33 and he's going across all the droids, and they were all like fun, but whenever he gets to the prequel droid, and he says something akin to like, "Did we win? Did we win?" or something like that, and then his head falls off. I bust out laughing at that. Anytime they have those droids in anything, I find it just hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, that's what I meant. This show is fun to watch. I mean, I really enjoy myself, and I mean, you have stuff like Andor, which is really well written, and there's a message there, and this is just fun to watch, and it's also well written. There's no strange dialogue. The characters make logical choices. So far, it's not weird what they're doing. I mean, we had another Star Wars show earlier this year where you could, well, really question like every 5 minutes, what are they doing now? Um, so yeah, that's what I think is really nice about this show, and it's good Star Wars, man. At least in my book. You guys agree?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely fun. I think that's I don't want it to lean away from the fun. I don't, despite my earlier criticisms, I don't want to come off as saying like I didn't have fun watching this episode.
Mm,
I just worry that it's gonna get hijacked into Crimson Jack's story and not what are all these kids doing. You know what I mean? I grew to really enjoy the kids over the first two episodes. And my only hesitation is this going to be Jude Law's story from here on out? That's all.
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. I hope they will keep leaning into the mystery of Atin.
Yeah.
That's the most intriguing part about the show. I mean, Jude Law comes across like he's like a not to pull Marvel into this, but like a Guardian of the Galaxy type person, a little, a little good, little bad, a little bit of both, stuff like that.
He's a swashbuckler, you know.
Uh,
He's the Dread Pirate Roberts in space.
this is where my English
Exactly.
falls short. What is a swashbuckler?
Like a pirate, just
Oh,
somebody who flies by their own code and is a free spirit, but not necessarily bad or good.
yeah, I get what you're saying. I was not
all
familiar
those
with
old
it.
all those old pirate movies with Errol Flynn and
Yeah.
those guys with the swords and the swinging in the
Mhm.
rafters and the swinging in the sails and stuff. Those were called swashbuckler movies.
Mhm.
That's swashbuckling.
Okay. Well, I learned something today. Well, it's a
Yeah.
productive day. well, although it's a lot of fun, there's not much there further to unpack. So I just want to, move on to a rating. And start with you, Taylor. Episode 3, what's your number?
I give the episode an 8 out of 10. I think it's doing a really good job. It's keeping that feel of that 1980s Goonies, Monster Squad, Flight of the Navigator, kids
Mhm.
adventure type thing. And they're so far again, I think they're doing it all pretty well.
Okay. Merv?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with an 8 as well. It's consistent with the first one. It's just some long term questions I have, but it's hitting every mark as far as like the fun nature of it goes. So I like it.
Yeah, for a Star Wars show that's kind of sneaked up on us. And everybody was like, what's it going to be like. I think it's actually quite good, and I'm going to crank it up a notch compared to last week when I gave both episodes 7. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 as well. I really enjoyed myself. I think it's really good for what it is, and yeah, there's something to enjoy for everybody. Well, that will conclude this week's review of Champions on episode 3 of Skeleton Crew. I'm not going to repeat that long title too long. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out. Like and share this review and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want more of us, click on the link in the description, set up an account, and join our forum at sakar.freeforums.net. We would love it if you do that. Next week, we're going to talk about episode 4. For now, I want to thank you all also on behalf of our champions and wish the force to be with you. Bye.